Good morning, everybody. It's Lynn, the Leather Bag Lady. How are you all today? It has been a long time since I have done a video here in my home, in my trailer in Grand Valley, Ontario, Canada. The Canada Post strike has pretty well stopped my business. Just thought I would give you a little bit of a catch up. All will be revealed very shortly. I am desperately trying to keep my videos to 20 minutes or shorter. If you follow me regularly, you will know what a task that is going to be. First and foremost, Happy New Year, everybody. It is January 14th today, Wednesday. In amongst the snow, snow is coming down right now. If you are new to my channel and don't really know what this is all about, I did get a few subscribers over the year that I have not been actively reselling on YouTube. I am a leather bag reseller, hence the Leather Bag Lady. I typically offer in two different ways, vintage bags on Etsy and everything else on my website, leatherbag-lady.com. As I've said, neither of which have been active for pretty well over a year. November 2024, Canada Post went on strike for the first time, and they were mandated back to work just before Christmas. And then May 22nd, 2025, they went back on rotating strikes, and everything was just so up in the air. I did not want to get back into starting a business, having to stop the business. And I actually had visions of me kind of not doing the business anymore. My plan B has always been to go back to work full time, and I have fought it for years because I really didn't want to go back to work full time, but I had to. And for the last 8 months, I have been a recreational therapist with the VON, the Victoria Order of Nurses, at the Mount Forest location in Ontario, Canada. It has been a ride. It has been an absolute ride. The first month and a half, I was an activity aide working for minimum wage, which not-for-profit businesses, the pay is horrendous. But it wasn't necessarily about the money. Of course, it was about the money. That's why I went back to work. But there was a whole bunch of other things with it. I was starting to get a little tired of the highs and lows of running a business. Now, my business is a micro business, almost a hobby in some people's view. But I sustained myself for almost 12 years with some little part-time gigs here and there. And I am not money motivated at all. Obviously, I need money to pay my bills, but I keep my financial footprint very, very small. And I do that on purpose because being a single mom for as many years as I've been a single mom, owning a home that was a money pit for as many years as I owned it, I could not even imagine a car payment or anything of that nature because I've been so broke over the years that I knew exactly how much change there was in my change purse. And my best friend and I, Pamela, were kind of in that boat at the same time. And she and I both said, you know you're broke when you know how many coins you have in your change purse. And I never, ever, 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 ever want to get back to that place. So like I said, when there were grumblings of this strike action happening again in May, I thought, yeah, no, this isn't going to happen. So April, I started to look for a job, and I got the first job that I applied for, and I realized why after the fact. And everything was good. Like I said, I work for the VON. Money is god awful, but to me, certain things have dollar value. half an hour away from my home, which in Grand Valley, you're out in the middle of nowhere anyway. So half hour, 35-minute commute was a good thing in my book. No evenings, weekends, good thing in my book. I live in a park model trailer in an 11-month trailer park. And I knew that over the summer I had big plans with family, friends, not so much family, more so friends. And I wanted to be available on the weekends. So, yeah, that was important to me. I didn't want to be working in the evenings. There are no street lights where I live, and it is extremely dark. There is a lot of wildlife, deer, all that kind of thing. And I drive a very tiny car in the summer, and I do not want to be dealing with any of that nonsense. I am getting older. The eyesight is not what it used to be. So I didn't want to be traveling the highways and byways, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So there was dollar value in all of those things. So working for basically minimum wage for the first couple of months, yeah, you know what? It was good because I certainly have not been used to a regular paycheck. Even my little part-time gigs were very kind of spits and spurts, sporadic, that kind of thing. So very quickly into my job, there was a change of direction for the department, and they actually wanted to hire a recreational therapist, which I am. So I applied for the job and I got the job. Now, these positions are all contract. The VON is, I would say, 95% female based. And a lot of these females are off having babies and all kinds of things, changing positions, doing projects. So it was an 18-month contract position for maternity leave that was supposed to end December 2026. So that was fine. I figured I would be able to put enough money into savings to pay my 2026 fees at the park, 27 fees at the park, 28 fees at the park. And buy a winter vehicle. I knew that my old beater was not going to make it. I hoped it would make it to this side of winter. It didn't. So there was lots of things that I needed to pay for. And I just didn't have the money. Yes, I made some money on the sale of my house. I did not anticipate having to buy somewhere to live. But I did. I got an excellent deal on this trailer, which was wonderful. I put some money in investments, which I have never had before. And I certainly have no intentions of touching that money. I pretty well was a stay-at-home mom for most of my adult life, and there is no pension plan for me. Whatever the government pension will get me, I don't know what it'll get me. Not much. Was it going to be $400 a month or something like that? So needless to say, I knew I had to, and I still know I have to get something in place. So all that said, I did not want to drain the little bit of investment money that I have put away from the sale of my house. My house was literally a 560 square foot little cottage. Yes, I got more than I ever dreamed I would get for it, but I also did not anticipate a marriage ending and having a lot of expenses in that regard. I had to pay off a student loan. I had to, lots of things. So there was not as much of that money left over as I anticipated. There was some significant chunks of that money that went places that in hindsight it didn't need to go, but that's just the way it goes. So this job, I pretty well knew it was not my cup of tea right from the beginning, and that is being very honest. There was so much kitchen work. And anybody who knows me personally knows I am not that kind of bunny. I'm good at a lot of things, but kitchen stuff is not one of them. I forced myself to be a little bit more domestic than I've ever wanted to be a few years ago. And I just got really resentful of it. I had no desire to be making dinner every night. And by that, I don't mean that I wanted to eat out or anything like that, but there's ways that you can sustain yourself nutritionally without having to peel potatoes and make meatloafs and all the rest of it. I've basically eaten salads every night since I moved into my trailer here. There will never be a potato peeled in my life ever again. Ever. Traumatized. I'm never peeling a potato. I'm never mashing a potato. I'm never doing anything. Sweet potato, maybe, but regular potatoes. I was asked in 2024 to bring mashed potatoes to Christmas. I'm like, hell no. Don't ever ask me to do anything with potatoes ever again, because it's not happening. And if you know, you know. So yeah, it was a very rude awakening from, what was some of the things that I had to do? We provided snack for our clients, tea, coffee, lunch. We used the Meals on Wheels lunches, but we did dessert. We set tables. We did grocery shopping. We laundered, cleaning out garbages, scrubbing sinks. No, I knew pretty quickly that it was not for me. I can't sleep the night before I have to entertain. And when I had my trailer in Cayuga, didn't do it very often, but between, both sides of the family, there was some entertaining, and I couldn't sleep the night before. I was anxious. It's not something that I enjoy, especially when my meager attempts at cooking are going to be judged and critiqued. That just, no. Who wants to set themselves up for that kind of nonsense? So, not my thing at all. And here I am doing it daily. So I knew pretty well that it wasn't going to be for me. And I really, really, really had to dig deep to stick it out. Now, 2 months into the job, as I said, there was an opening for a rec therapist. I took that thinking that all those days would be over. Nope. Ended up having a very negative experience with my supervisor. Your girl was getting bullied, which I'm a pretty strong woman. And for me to get bullied, took me a while to kind of get over the fact that it is what it was actually happening, being sworn at, called names, downgraded in front of clients and other staff. And finally I had enough and I reported it. And then things just went even further downhill. So I finally couldn't take it anymore. I have not slept a full night since August. That could be age, that could be menopause, but it just seems very weird that it all kind of started to happen around the same time as this whole bullying nonsense. August 1st long weekend, my colleague and I had a very, very bad experience with some management and another staff member. And since then, it just all went downhill. So I stuck it out. Mostly from the example that my son had set a couple of years ago. He was working at a place where he was being bullied also. And he stuck it out for 8 months every day, being yelled and screamed at by his colleagues. And I thought, you know what, if my son can stick it out, so can I. And I revamped my financial plan to take into account, what I absolutely at a minimum wanted to have in the bank by the time I left. I managed to find a winter car. My old Pontiac Vibe did not make it past September. I was driving my sister home to Burlington from staying here for the weekend, and the tranny went. And there goes my Pontiac, over 500,000 kilometers on it. It owed me nothing, but I really wasn't financially ready to look for another car. And boy, oh boy, used cars are very expensive. But I managed to find the cutest. Again, if you know me, you know I do not beat to the same drum as everybody else. I live in a trailer. I'm about to live in a van for a few months out of the year. I have a souped up little Toyota Echo, which who soups up a Toyota Echo? More people than you think, let me tell you. So I found myself a Nissan Cube. I wanted something that had enough room in the back, which it doesn't actually have as much as the Vibe. It looks like it does, but it doesn't. A lot of headroom, and it's just so unique. It looks like a little cube. That's why it's called the Nissan Cube. It's a 6-speed. I wanted a manual car this time round, and I didn't want to spend any more than $5,000. Oh my goodness me. I was up to a $10,000 loan to buy a car, and then this little gem appeared, and I had some help with a friend in Orangeville to help me go pick it up in Etobicoke. That was a journey. So here I am. I'm unhappy. I'm being bullied at work. I managed to save quite a bit more money than I thought I was going to have to spend on this little car. So I thought, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I was starting to notice some downturns in my mood. I suffer with depression. I am at the point now where I recognize the symptoms. I recognize the feelings. Pretty well why I walked away from my marriage, as much as I wanted to figure something out that would work for both of us, because I loved my husband very much, but I just couldn't live the way it was sitting at that time, because I could feel myself starting to have very negative thoughts. You know, I'm an overthinker on a good day, so I do not need any extra to keep me up at night. And that's what was happening with this job. Then I put the complaint in for the bullying, and then it all just went south from there. And finally, end of November, I said, I can't do this anymore. I went and spoke to my manager, and the straw that broke the camel's back was the trailer park taking away the ability for us to choose the 1 month out of the year that we have to vacate the park. They have given us a hard close, which we have no control over, and it was not the month that I was going to choose. So there was nothing really more for it other than to give my notice. And I was so happy that my manager allowed me to take my time doing that, rather than me expressing that I was going to leave and them kind of walking me out, which I know has happened. I gave them almost 6 weeks, which gave me the opportunity for a few more paychecks, albeit that we've had some horrendous weather in that time, to the point where we actually were without power here for 3 days and without water for 4. You try living in a trailer with no power. It was -10 in my bedroom one of the nights. I thought I was going to die. I really did. I went to bed that night, lay down on a frozen mattress, and I thought, if I wake up, I wake up. Maybe a little melodramatic, but it truly was how I felt. I was terrified, living here by myself, no generator, no nothing, no wellness checks by the park. Very disappointed in this place, I can tell you for sure. Anyway, that aside, my last day was yesterday, and very bittersweet. I have had the most incredible personal growth whilst at this job. I have met some great people in my immediate department, and I was actually, my colleague Manali messaged me this morning. She's like, those 2 emails you sent yesterday didn't come through. Can you redo them? Can you text it to me and I'll copy and paste? So I was just working from home this morning. But anyway, all that being said, the leather bag lady is back. The bitch is back, as my mom would say. And I do have a sign up here that says, now get to work, bitch. I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see it. See it? That is a line from a Britney Spears song. And that is what's going to be happening. So I am going to be going to Sarnia in the next day or two. Actually, no, I'm going to be heading back to Hamilton, hanging out with family, friends for a week, going to Niagara Falls for a couple of nights. And then I'm off to Sarnia for 4, 5, 6 weeks, however it works. And then when I get back, I will be hitting the ground running, getting this little business up and going again, as well as my other project. And we will talk more about that. I am at 20 minutes, 24 seconds. So I'm going to sign off 20 minutes or less. I'm really going to try. So it's good to be back, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great. Happy New Year, as I've already said. There will be a lot more coming from Leatherbag Lady Living. Bye now.